Well, are you ready to create yourself and build a life you'll love? Are you also ready for some unindoctrination? Well, I hope that you are. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I am your mailman. No matter what, rain, snow, sleet, dark and night, I'm always bringing you the message, always bringing you the mail. Sometimes it's checks, you love me. Sometimes it's bills and you hate me. And tonight we'll be here 10 p.m. Central Time for Late Night in the Heartland. That's our call-in show. Tonight we've got an amazing show coming up about I found the smoking gun of the election cheat, and plus we found them confessing. If I'm a prosecuting attorney, I got motive, I got opportunity, I got means. I'm ready to close this case, and tonight your Christian Whistleblower will be closing that case for you. But before we get started, remember the great folks at Focus Life Force Energy. It is one of the great products that I've ever seen. It's high consciousness on demand. It sends that field to your home, to your phone. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com. Click on that Focus Life Force Energy logo. You don't want to be without it. It is a great, great product. Let's jump right in, ladies and gentlemen, and let's talk about something that sooner or later touches all of our lives in one way or another. Illness, sympathy, pain, and pleasure. All of those things, one of those things will at some point in our life affect us, touch us, be a part of us. And learning where they come from and learning how to deal with them is very, very imperative. So let's go ahead and do that. We're learning how to create ourselves with white Dianetics. Question: are we genetically prone to use illness to get attention? Is that why some people don't want to get well? Is that why some people don't want to get rich? Is that why some people don't want to be divine, don't want to be sovereign, don't want to be free? Because they don't want to be responsible. They want to have something and someone to blame for everything. Now, there's this saying that, you don't want to spoil your child. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages, it is impossible to spoil a child with love and affection. Whoever postulated that it's possible was postulating out of bad data and had no observation, none. A child needs all the love and all the affection that it can possibly get. And there's proof. It's not just opinion. There's proof, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages. A test was run in a hospital which shows that babies who are left without attention tend to get fevers. And when given attention, those babies immediately get better. How many babies do you know in your life that use illness to get attention? And maybe they're old babies, and then when they get that attention, they are suddenly healed. So the fact that a baby that doesn't have the knowledge base, a baby that doesn't have the understanding, a baby that doesn't even have the mental facilities or faculties to be able to do that, knows to do that, begs the question, are we genetically prone to use illness to get attention? Now, this is true. It postulates a mechanism in the human organism which does use illness in order to gain affection, and that it's genetic. In other cases, babies with slight fevers were left at the hospital by their parents until they got well, and they never did. If a baby has a slight fever, you leave the baby at the hospital, it doesn't get well. In fact, it gets worse, and the babies did not get well until what? Until they went home. This brings into focus the terrible, heinous crimes that we have with putting our loved ones in the hospitals, in the nursing homes, and not allowing them visitation. We are killing them, and it is on purpose. It's a communist takeover, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We'll talk more about that tonight. I do want to try, if I can, to stay on topic, but that's something I just couldn't let slide by. And when you're keeping your children at home, you're keeping your children locked up, folks, this is a communist revolution attempt, and we've got to stop it. But anyway, here's the law. That's the law of affinity. And what the law of affinity is, we'll talk about. If these tests are accurate, they prove that leaving a sick baby in the hospital, he has a slight illness invariably, that's going to increase it. Leaving a sick baby in the hospital is going to make a baby sicker because he or she is separated from their parents. What does this have to do with anything? It has to do with sympathy and affinity. Now, there was a series of severely controlled Dianetic experiments over a much longer period of time than that hospital experiment that demonstrated the law of affinity as applicable to psychosomatic illnesses was more powerful than fear and antagonism by a very wide margin. So great is this margin that it could be compared to the strength of a steel girder against that of a straw, or a steel girder of that of an airplane wing. 9/11 reference. So what they're saying, affinity means, like, love, touch, connection, rapport, whatever you call it, affinity, being in affinity with each other. And it's almost impossible to have any communication with someone unless you can have affinity with them, unless you can establish affinity with them. And at some point, we're going to get to the ARC triangle, which is affinity, relationship, and then reality, affinity, reality, and communication. If you've got affinity, if you kind of like each other, you can find some reality. And the thing about reality, it's such a great truth, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but the thing about reality is it doesn't even have to be real. It just has to be agreed upon by two people. Tracy Dyer and I, who have some affinity with each other, we could create a reality where we believe that these are on fire. These right here, they're on fire. Now, in your reality, they're not on fire. But if Tracy Dyer and I both agreed and believed that these were on fire, then in our reality, they would be on fire. And these burning cards would give us affinity. And because we have affinity, because we have reality, then we have communication, very strong communication. It's like Christians who can believe that plastic Jesus is real. He's not, never was, never will be, but they believe it. So they've got this great reality, and it's their reality. And that's why it's hard for me, Tracy, to come into people and say, that's not real, but they agree that it's real. And for them, it really is real. But there's real, and then there's just you're real. And guess what? You're real isn't always, but it is to you. So if I can leave you with that little puzzle. And I just wanted to share something with you really quickly, folks. Really, really short show. I'm not going to do this a whole lot to you, but it is Christmas time, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to be Christmas time. And some of you men have got ladies on your list, and some of you ladies also have ladies on your list. Can I just show you this? Can I just show you this beauty right here? This is the Mantra Essential Oils Diffuser. You can't see it probably, but I'm diffusing some Focus essential oil. It's not a diffuser, it's a nebulizer. It's even better. It goes out as beautiful wood. Look at that. It's beautiful wood. It lights up in different colors. And man, it really does help me focus. You can find that. Just go to Whistleblower CBD. I know that's not the CBD, but you find it there. Whistleblower CBD. Look under the essential oils tab. It's called Mantra. And also, husbands, boyfriends, I want to help a brother out. You see this right here? This is called it's glass. It's called Resilient. It's honey, I bought you some perfume because I want you to smell good. But honey, I'm not just service to self. And I know just to want you to smell good is like service to self to me. But honey, this also will help you. This one's Resilient. It helps optimize you if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling overwhelmed, and a lot of ladies are these days. This Resilient has the particular botanicals and things in it that will help you feel empowered, will help you feel strong, will help you feel revived and like you can make it. So honey, not only do I want you to smell good, but I want to help you too. That's also there under the Mantra tab. Whistleblower CBD.com. Those are under the Mantra tab, but you can look at all the other tabs too. I'm just trying to help a brother out. It's service to others, ladies and gentlemen, and you help me. And you are helping me help you and the rest of the world by spreading this message of indoctrination when you go through there. So Chronic psychosomatic illnesses exist only when they had a sympathy engram behind them. We're fixing to get deep. Psychosomatic illnesses, all chronic psychosomatic illnesses, only exist if they have an underlying sympathy engram behind them. This is hours and hours and hours of studies. And the law of affinity might be interpreted as the law of cohesion. Affinity might be defined as love. And deprivation of or absence of attention could be considered a violation of the law of affinity. You can't love someone, you can't care for someone long term if you don't have some connection to them. Now, if you deprive of that, or if that is absent, it is a violation of the law of affinity. And you've got to be in affinity with man in order to survive. Man left by himself or woman left by herself cannot long survive. Literally, we cannot survive without each other. And the suicide, according to L. Ron Hubbard, will normally commit the act on the computation of the removal of self will benefit others. It's just better for the world if I'm not here. It's better for my fill in the blank if I'm not here. And this, on the reactive mind level, is a very ordinary computation, and it comes directly from engrams, ladies and gentlemen. It comes directly from engrams. Now, the violent, we're going to talk about the power, pain, and pleasure. The violent, merciless industrial chieftain ordinarily is suffering from an engram that is born out of a sympathetic engram. I know it's hard to believe. The sympathy engram pretends to be pro-survival. I'm going to explain all this to you now. There's no engrams that are without pain. And pain is extremely perishable, but pleasure is recorded in bronze. This is the great fallacy of the work of neurolinguistic programming and people like Tony Robbins. I like Tony Robbins. I like the work. I used to believe it, but I've come to realize that because they teach that you will get much better results avoiding pleasure than you will trying to gain pain. And that is just absolutely, completely wrong. And as I read this, I remembered being in the delivery room. I was there for all three of my children. Ladies, y'all are crazy. Absolutely crazy. You got no sense in your heads whatsoever. If it were up to men, this race would have perished long ago. I watched my wife at that time give birth to our son, our first child. I saw her bleed. I saw her cry. I saw her puke. I saw her do it out of the other end. I saw her ripped in half almost, like, it looked like to me. And then this little alien comes out and it was the most horrific thing I've ever seen. And then they want me to cut the cord, and I barely was able to keep my dinner down. And that crazy woman did it again. And then you know what? She did it again. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. I really don't know what's wrong with you ladies. I do not know what's wrong with you ladies. But I know from that experience that the desire to gain the pleasure of having a son or a daughter, another son or a daughter, far outweighs the unimaginable, very near to death pain of childbirth. And that has convinced me, as I look and think and ponder, that pleasure is recorded in bronze. But pain is very, very perishable, because a woman can go through that. They put that baby on her chest and she's forgot about it. A pleasurable physical pain, and this also showed me as I do Dianetic work, physical pain deletes easily. You can get rid of physical pain engrams like that from people. But a pleasurable or an enjoyable experience is so fixed in the mind that we don't even have a treatment in white Dianetics that will shake it. And a great deal of effort at pleasurable recordings has been looked at just to see how permanent they are. And they are permanent. But physical pain is very, very, very very, very perishable. So if you're trying to make an application in your personal life for this, let me help you. Let me make that big first so you can see it. If you're trying to make a personal application in your life for this, and you don't know much about Dianetics yet, don't be saying, I want to go on a diet because I want to lose weight. Say I'm going on a diet because I want to be able to fit into these pants. I want to be able to fit into this swimsuit. Try to make all of your goals, your desires, your motivators positive, because that's what you deal with most desirably, is the opposite of what NLP says. The desire to gain pleasure is much more powerful than the desire to avoid pain. And it's just true, ladies and gentlemen. It is just true. And when you think about what's going on in this world today, most of the people that are in it are just trying to avoid pain. Even Christianity. What is Christianity? It's this all-out effort to avoid pain. Why? Because most people that are Christians, let's just be honest, you're not a Christian because you fell in love with Jesus. You love plastic Jesus so much you just can't get enough of him. You're not a Christian because you just love Jesus. You're a Christian because you don't want to go to hell. You know that's the truth for, I would say, the majority of people in Christianity. You're a Christian because you don't want to go to hell. That's a very, very low tone motivation. When you find something that you can be in love with, like if you love yourself and then you love your neighbor, that makes you love divinity with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, then you start understanding what living in divinity, in sovereignty, in freedom is all about. Then you begin to understand what living is in unindoctrination is all about. Then you'll begin to understand what it's like to not just exist, but to live, and not just to barely get by, but to build a life and build a dream, to have the thing where you get out of there. To me, there ain't no Saturday and Sunday. There's no Monday through Friday. Every day I get up, I work more now than I've ever have. But I don't work a day in my life because I have found my great basic purpose. I am doing every day what I love to do, and it is the thing that I do, ladies and gentlemen. It's the thing that I do. And until you find that, you are just existing. You are not living. Until you find that, ladies and gentlemen, you are just existing. You are not living. I'm here to help you unindoctrinate yourself. I'm here to help you be divine, sovereign, and free. And I'm here to help you create yourself and live the life that you'll love. I'm going to add this to our Create Yourself playlist on White Dianetics. I encourage you to go and look at it and watch it. We're building on it on a weekly basis, and I'm going to try to make it more than once a week basis. And I'm also going to be uploading a new Cousins Club behind the firewall here. Cynthia went and is doing some business, so I'm going to get some podcast excellence done. And then tonight we'll be back here live, ladies and gentlemen. The smoking gun on the election and how they planned it and how they exposed themselves. And I now have means, I now have method, and I now have motive, ladies and gentlemen. I can prove it. Good times ahead. And I hope to see you tonight at 10 p.m. On your way out, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Help drive this video through the algorithm so more people can see it. And please do subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. Tap the bell twice, because if you love me, you don't want to miss anything. And if you hate me, you want to keep your eye on me, because I am just getting started, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages. As we get more subscribers, we are organically presented to more people, and we're here to get this message out, ladies and gentlemen. If you missed the show on the Kraken's been released. We know who he is. We also showed you that President Donald Trump is the Lamb of Revelation chapter 6. If you don't believe it, go watch the program from last night. Facebook has banned us, and the video right before they banned us, 87,000 views. You think there's a reason why they banned us? They don't want 87,000 people getting this message of indoctrination. But guess what? They can only try to slow us down. They can never stop us, because we're the last generation of real humans. And we're about to make this world better than it's ever been. And it's going to be sooner than anybody can imagine. So let's continue to ask the questions and question the answers. Let's continue to unindoctrinate ourselves. Let's continue to create ourselves. And let's get busy. I'll see you tonight at 10 p.m. Central Time right here for a late night in the Heartland. Until then, I salute you for being here, seeking